Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a magnetic excursion update Sunday, June 22nd, around 10 p.m. Mountain Time, 2025. A G1 geomagnetic storm has been added to the 3-day geomagnetic forecast for June 25th. Care of this massive trans-equatorial coronal hole number 59. We could see aurora to low latitudes and also some major earthquake activity. We also have a heat wave across most of the central and eastern U.S. Let's talk about it. Keep calm. It's boom time. The East Coast prepares for a major heat wave as temperatures reach the triple digits. We're talking tens of millions of Americans under heat alerts as extreme heat hits several parts of the country this week, especially the Northeast. Let's take a look at some of these temperatures as extreme heat warnings are issued for Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston. And they go into effect on Sunday as the heat ramps up for the second half of the weekend. An extreme heat watch was also issued for Washington, D.C., Baltimore on Monday. Take a look at the temperatures for D.C. on Monday, 110, followed by a 109 on Tuesday. New York is going to be hammered, 105 on Monday, 105 on Tuesday. Boston will moderate, but by Tuesday, they could see 103 downtown. St. Louis is going to bake 102 tomorrow, and Chi-Town will see 101. Not much fun. But it is summer, and it is a bummer. And right behind this heat wave is going to be some extreme cold. In fact, areas like Montana right now, 50 degrees below normal. Severe storms claim 3 lives in central New York, prompting a rare flash flood emergency. The National Weather Service said between 3 and 5 inches of rain had already fallen, and major flash flooding was ongoing, with reports of roads and bridges overrun by water, homes taking on water, and at least 10 people stranded by flooding. 3 deaths were reported after thunderstorms damaged at least 2 homes near Clark Mills, New York. And here we can see some of the pictures of that flooding. Here's even a little video. Take a look at that. Now, when flash flooding's happening, it's happening in areas that usually don't flood because too much rain happens in too short of a time. So here we see a creek or a river that pops up in the middle of people's yards.
I walked right through here last. No, it's about as deep as it is.
So there you go, some of that catastrophic flooding happening in central New York. Quick look over at Tornado HQ. There are some severe weather warnings and watches up. In fact, 9 currently, including a tornado warning in Minnesota. Say it ain't soda, but it is. Koochiching County in Minnesota. Severe weather thunderstorm warnings in Armstrong, Deaf Smith, Potter, and Randall counties in Texas. So that's what's happening now. Buckle up, Buttercup. And that tornado warning is all the way up here near Canada. Look at that. And this is a line of storms now moving through Ontario. I don't know what province that is. Don't quote me on it. Check out Tornado HQ for all live updates on severe weather warnings across North America. A quick look at Power Outage US, see if any of these storms are kicking off power. New York State still 35,000 without power, 20,000 in PA, 14,000 in Michigan, 11,000 in Ohio, and that was care of the storms yesterday. And here is the full forecast. We've got dangerous heat in the central and eastern U.S., severe thunderstorms in the plains to the upper Midwest. We just showed you over on Tornado HQ. A significant and dangerous heat wave or heat dome will expand from the central U.S. to the eastern U.S. and linger through much of the work week. Numerous daily record highs and warm lows are likely. Severe thunderstorms are possible from the southern plains through the upper mid-Mississippi Valley, and fire weather concerns are expected to persist across the Four Corners region. This is after we just had a fire breakout near Durango and closing US 550. You can see over a dozen states with extreme heat warnings. So please don't do any strenuous activity like I do in the heat, because your body is probably not prepared for it. Stay inside, stay cool. And if you do have to go outside, go out for 15, 20 minutes and come back in for 15, 20 minutes. And that's how you do work in extreme heat. You need to recover so that you don't get heat stroke and bad things happen. At the same time, all this heat is happening, we've got frost and freeze warnings and winter storm warnings in the west. Snow is already on the high mountain peaks. And like I said, Montana is up to 50 degrees in some areas below normal. A quick look over at the GFS model, and we'll see that the monsoon will be coming in here right at the end of June and into July and be bringing heavy moisture to the Four Corners states, which haven't seen any moisture for months, including Utah. Even Nevada is going to be picking up a little rain, but Arizona and New Mexico, there is extreme flooding potential for New Mexico. Hopefully Ruidoso doesn't get another flooding event, but it may just be the changing environment and a sign of the times. As far as severe weather is concerned, let's move it through. Here we are Monday. Not much happening across the lower 48, even Tuesday. There we go. We have pop-ups on Tuesday through the central U.S., but they quickly disappear overnight. Wednesday, another group of pop-up storms a little further west, including in New Mexico. That's when the moisture begins there. We've got some lingering stuff here for Wednesday for the East Coast and the Carolinas there, as well as the Virginias. But overall, no real severe weather outbreaks at a large scale at all on the models, just normal spring activity and early summer, which is not a bummer because we're going to be picking up moisture here in the Four Corners and hopefully put out some of those fires. Seismic update. We had a few quakes of note. We had a slight uptick in the west coast here, a 3.4 in the geysers, a 3.3 in Arcata, California. We've got some lingering activity south of Japan, a bunch of quakes stacking up here near Toshima. But overall, normal activity worldwide as the coronal hole fast approaches, and we'll be coupling with it in about 48 hours. That brings us to worldwide volcano news. First on the list for the 22nd of June is Reventador to 14,000 feet. Liuotolo, 7,000-foot puff there. Raung on the list with a 15,000-foot blast. Kirishima, that's a new one on the list, a 7,000-foot puff there. Can we see any stringers? No. Sangay to 20,000 feet. Dukono puffing and passing today. Ibu as well. Semadu, who knew? Now you do on the list. We've got Liuotolo to 7,000. Volcanic ash from Fuego. Raung puffing and passing as well. And Sangay to 21,000 feet. Ibu to 7,000 feet. Semeru puffing, and wrapping up the list is Reventador with a 16,000-foot blast. Which brings us to space weather, and the only real thing to talk about, well, are two things to talk about. This giant coronal hole number 59 and these two massive plasma filaments. Let's take a look at them here over at SDO in 193 angstroms. You could see this massive plasma filament here and another one here, and then coronal hole 59, which is actually facing us a little bit more than this model is showing. But I do digress. The only sunspots on the disk are small, and they are not flaring to active regions. The 3-day geomagnetic forecast shows G1, geomagnetic storming, on June 25th for an extended period of time. The window for the coupling of this massive transequatorial coronal hole is about 24 hours. Hours of powers on the 25th. And there's that hole in question once again, glorious in its current position. Geologists discover 3 new minerals in the southwest U.S. Now, unlike species, which there are millions of and millions of them that we are unaware of, still discovering every day, minerals are much harder to find. In fact, there are just 5,998 named minerals in the entire set across all of our planet. That's not much. You would think there would be much more. Well, there are. They just haven't been found. The only place we can look is the surface and in some small holes in mines that we dig. We barely have touched the surface on minerals on Earth. There's probably hundreds of thousands of them. We just haven't located them. But we just located 3 new minerals in one location in the Southwest. On a wind-swept spur of Cooks Peak in Luna County, New Mexico, you know, where those the 10 Commandments are carved in a boulder that Lee and I went to quite a bit ago. They found 1, 2, 3 new minerals, and they're fascinating. The additions to the list of minerals include radimarkite, virgileuthite, and stenorthopite. And they nudged the global mineral count to 5998, like I just said. An uptick that seems tiny until one recalls how rarely legitimate newcomer minerals are accepted. Almost never happens. Maybe 1 a year. Unlike the plant kingdom or animal kingdoms, which have millions of known species, the mineral kingdom has far fewer, as we said. Today, there are just 5,998 known mineral species, but new minerals are being discovered every year, and the Cooks Peak keeps surprising geologists. Cooks Peak stands 8,400 feet high and lies roughly 17 miles north of Deming, a range whose granodiorite core once fed iron-rich hydrothermal fluids. And with this composition of granodiorite, hydrothermal-rich fluids, you get a whole host of new mineral species forming in these hydrothermal fluids. The fluids left pockets of lead, zinc, silver, and fluorite, and in some of the oxidized cavities, they also left molybdenum-rich conditions needed for rare molybdic acid hydrides to crystallize, and that's what we have here. Radimarkite forms sprays of colorless needles only a millimeter long, but flexible enough to bend without breaking. Absolutely fascinating mineral there. Virgileuthite appears as yellow-green plates that often overgrow earlier crystals, often called a pseudomorph, while stenorthopite shows up as a stubby, milky blade that sometimes replaces the yellow mineral sidwellite. So that is the update as far as new minerals on Earth. And thank you, geologists. Guys, times are tough and things are happening. And the number one threat coming out from the Middle East is going to be a cyber attack. Yeah, a blackout in the U.S., some type of internet outage that lasts for an extended period of time. Iran has the capabilities to do this. Don't get held hostage by these terrorists. You need to hedge your bets. You need to have backup emergency food. How about a 4-week food supply plus 4 free 72-hour food kits? Huge discounts for the 4th of July sale over at My Patriot Supply. Just go to preparewiththeranch.com, support the channel, and support your preparedness. Claim your free kits today. Deep discounts on all their preparedness food that can last on the shelf for decades. And that's a boom to knowledge. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Half of you watching are unsubscribed, and we need your help to grow. We love each and every one of you. Do all those YouTube things and be safe. We'll see you in the desert on Saturday, 9:30 sharp, for the ultimate petroglyph tour.